The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Game Podcast Network is brought to you by Arctic Fantasy. Sign up promo code MLB SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football in the NFL with Rhythm. Get your sudden future all today by going to sportscampus.com/RITHMM. And welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Game Podcast Network. It's currently Tuesday afternoon, roughly 1 p.m. Eastern Time on October 8th. Time to get into Game 3 of the two NLDS series, and I'm your host of this episode, Scott Reichel. Once again, joined by Lonte Smith, and together we're going to break down, once again, the two games for Tuesday. Lonte, how's it going with you?
My God, Scott, I'm doing good, man. Better than our Yankees. I'll say that, but doing pretty good, man. Looking forward to the show with you, and hopefully we got some winners.
To be fair, we currently have an 8-way tie for who's doing the best and worst in the DS round because every series is 1-1. So the Yankees haven't exactly been doing great, but they've not been doing horribly. In fact, they've done the same as everybody else. So there's a couple ways to look at it, but I believe it's the first time in MLB history that all four divisional series have been tied 1-1 through two games. I think it's never happened before. So once again, a lot of drama. We are guaranteed at least 4 games in every series, which is definitely fun. Of course, you mentioned the one of the games from yesterday. We'll briefly recap those. Yankees, of course, did get destroyed by the Royals. It was 4-2 as a final score. In reality, the game never really felt that close, as once Kansas City got through against Rodon, and they were able to score a bunch of runs in the, I believe it was the 4th inning. You ended up seeing the Yankees only score 1 run after that, and that was the 9th inning solo shot by Jazz Chisholm. But the Royals won 4-1. Rodon had 3 2/3 of 4 runs allowed, with 4 runs allowed with 7 strikeouts, no walks. And as for Kansas City, Reagan's walked some guys, but overall he was pretty effective, and then the bullpen shut it down. So I'll start there. I won't get into the game that was before that, but point is the Yankees ended up really no-showing the game offensively. Judge got on base a couple times. Congrats, I guess. But I do want to ask you your thoughts for Game 2 in that series.
Man, I mean, we probably can do a whole podcast about this. I'm trying to just sum it up. I mean, I just thought that we should have threw Heel instead of Rodon. I don't know what it is about Yankees pitchers and their body language, but you could tell right away. Like, Rodon looked good right away.
He was so good for the first 2 innings.
Yeah, but
everything kind of fell apart.
Yeah, once he gets a walk or a hit, it's like, bro, it's like the world's ending for him. Like, and you can tell that kind of threw him off, which it kind of snowballed into something different. And I would say Reagan's, I mean, he was okay. Like he wasn't his best, but like it was there for the taking. I feel like Rodon could have been a little bit better, and I feel like you don't want to put a rookie on the road with a team who hits the ball insanely better at home than they do. Like, their home road splits are massive, and I think we both talked about that. Yeah, I mean, just like it's brutal, man. That was a brutal game to watch. But you could have kind of put a stranglehold on that series going up 2-0 with Cole in your back pocket. Now, I mean, he's probably gonna have to go Game 4 instead of Game 5.
Yeah. To kind of counter, though, your point about why Rodon did start Game 2 is the same reason why I said Sanchez would start Game 2 for Philly. It's because the home road splits are alarming. You're looking at Rodon's numbers this season: 3.11 ERA at home, 4.69 ERA on the road. So it's mostly trying to get him in a comfort zone of having him pitch at home compared to the road. But of course, Rodon fell apart anyway. Yeah. It was a classic Rodon start where he looked solid, and then one bad thing happened, the Perez home run, and he immediately unraveled. Yeah. He immediately just fell apart, and you could tell that mental toughness is not a strength of his. Yeah. So that was really the main takeaway for me. It was a pretty, I don't want to say standard Rodon start, but it was unsurprising what happened. Once Salvi went deep, then he started losing control a bit. He fell behind some batters, then everything kind of unraveled. But the point is, it was mostly just one bad thing happening for Rodon, and he completely fell apart.
Now, and I think, my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just think got to capitalize with runners on base. I mean, we had multiple guys in scoring position. I think we had second and third, Judge at the plate, strikeout.
First and second with no outs because the first 2 batters walked. Judge.
Yeah, there we go. Like, come on, like you got to at least put the ball in play.
Like, pretty much. But the Yankees in Game 2 were 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. The Royals were 3 for 11. So they had more chances, but the point is 1 for 6. And in Game 1, the Yankees went a grand total, with runners in scoring position, by the way, of 2 for 13, which means the Yankees are 3 for 19 this series with runners in scoring position. That's so crazy. Not going to get it done there. Yeah. A point is, though, we saw the Royals construct some solid at bats. They also stole a bunch of bases, which is something we were expecting. I'm pretty salty, though, because I had Isbell to steal a base at plus 170 in the series, and he got caught stealing. He was the only guy on the Royals to get caught stealing yesterday, which is pretty annoying. Point is, though, Kansas City did the small ball stuff, but it was mostly just Rodon falling apart, and both bullpens are very solid. So that's kind of how the game goes. I want to point out that I agree with Trevor. The Yankees should be down 2-0.
Yeah, they should be.
You're looking at Cole being terrible in game 1. They managed to get by. Of course, it helped out with the refs, or I should say the umpires, not overturning that Chisholm play at second base, which resulted in the go-ahead run. But the Yankees have not played well, and they're tied 1-1. Point is, we'll see what happens moving forward. Do you want to mention, though, what happened in the other game, too, which was a blow-up from Clase, because he was, I don't want to say awful, but he almost blew the game in the 8th inning, but you saw Quan make the diving catch. You could put quotes around catch because people don't really know if it hit the ground or not, but they called it a catch, so I'm going to call it a catch. Then you saw a bunch of guys get on base in the 9th, and Carpenter hit the 3-run bomb. So want to ask you about that series because it has been ugly, with the exception of the first inning of game 1. After the first inning, you've seen 5 runs combined in the last... you've seen 5 runs combined in the last 17 innings of that series. And we saw the Tigers win with Skubal because they needed to. Anything change your mind in that series so far?
Yeah, not really. I think that's going pretty much exactly how... I don't want to speak for you, but I mean, I thought it would be, a low-scoring affair. I didn't even expect... I think we both... Yeah, I mean, I thought it would be a low-scoring affair all throughout, and that's pretty much how it's played out. One bad mistake by Clase. I mean, I don't want to hold it too much against him. The guy's been great for the
he's been incredible.
Year.
I'm just pointing out that Williams and Clase have both looked suspect in the playoffs, and they were the 2 best relievers in the entire league.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I think that is one series that's played out exactly how I envisioned it. Maybe not to the effect of the 5-run first inning and then the Clase blowing a save, but I thought it would be 1-1.
It wasn't a save, but still.
Yeah. But I wouldn't have been surprised if Cleveland handled business. I mean, I just thought that they simply just they can't hit. Like after the top of the lineup, they just can't get guys on. And Detroit has a little bit more power in their bats. And we saw that in the bottom of the 10th or 9th. I'm sorry,
that was the top of the 9th.
Yeah. Top of the 9th. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that series is playing out pretty much how I like it. I'm be interested to see. The Tigers had to have that one though, because you can't lose that with how Scuba was going. You can't lose that game. So good on them. I think Cleveland will still end up squeaking it out in the long run. I think we both picked Cleveland in 5.
I have Detroit to make the World Series as a bet, but I do think Cleveland had a lot of value at minus 125.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
So I thought the series was mispriced, but I hopefully get Detroit in the ALCS. But Riley mentioned in the Clase hasn't allowed a home run in the slider in about 2 years. I know that was the first home run he allowed to a lefty all season.
Yeah, I remember that too.
So good for Carpenter, took him deep, but point is Clase didn't exactly have his A stuff. Probably had his B or C stuff, but Detroit got through, and they now tied up the series. So, that's going to wrap it up for the recap of the ALDS before we get into the Game 3s for the NLDS for Tuesday. Do want to quickly remind you once again that we have a couple of great things going on with the network right now. First things first, we do have a great fundraiser going on for the Hurricane Helene victims, as we are looking at how many people have been devastated in Western North Carolina by the hurricane. SGPN is teaming up with a local charity, mountainprojects.org, to help give back. A reminder, the biggest donation will get a guest spot on the College Football Pick Show and a ton of gear. Go to mountainprojects.org and hit flood support. Help out today. Thank you in advance. A reminder that you could also leave some ratings and a review if you do tune into the podcast on Spotify or Apple. So thank you in advance for tuning in, as always, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. If you can head over to Spotify and leave us a 5-star rating, only you can prevent corporate gambling from taking over. Thank you in advance. Anyway, time to get into the actual Tuesday games in the NLDS for the Phillies series and for the Dodgers series. Starting off with the first game taking place in about 4 hours or so. Phillies trying to, once again, regain home field advantage after winning Game 2. Of course, they ended up losing Game 1. Do you want to talk about the series, though? Because even though every series is tied 1-1, I think we would agree this has been the best series by far, correct?
Yep, and I think the Mets have been the better team by far.
So they do want to ask you right now, with regard to momentum, etc., who do you think has the momentum right now? Because we know that the Mets did steal home field, but we have seen each bullpen blow a lead relatively late in each game. So I do want to ask you right now, who do you think has the edge? Because the Phillies coming back after blowing that save in the 9th inning in Game 2 seems to be a massive momentum shift. On the other hand, the Mets' argument is our only goal was to win 1 of 2 in Philly.
Right.
Anything else was basically gravy, and now we're back at home with a 1-1 series. So where do you think momentum currently lies in the series?
Yeah, I think it lies with the home team. I mean, you're getting out of that saying, look, we blew that game. We should be up 2-0, and we should be able to finish these guys off at home. Philly,
you can argue both teams feel like they should be up 2-0 right now.
Yeah, that's fair too. That's fair too. But I just think that the bats for the Mets have been a little bit more superior than what the Phillies have. I mean, I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I'm trying to think of who on the Phillies has really done anything. Of course, Castellanos had a great game too.
Right.
You saw Schwarber lead off with a solo home run in Game 1. And he had a couple hits besides that, but for the most part, they've been fine. I don't think anybody on Phillies jumped off the page. Castellanos had a great game too, and they really
he did.
But I'm trying to think of Real Muto and Stott batting in the 5 spot. You could argue that there are some other guys that you're waiting to step up, but there have been some guys contributing. Mets, you could argue the bottom of the order hasn't really done much. I mean, we're looking at Lindor, who was pretty solid. Vientos had the massive home run in the 9th inning.
Pete Alonso
done anything?
He hit that home run.
He hit the home run.
He had back-to-back home runs.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, forgot about that. Yeah, so he had the home run there. But you're looking at the bottom of the order, and I don't think anybody in the Mets has really done anything. So you can make an argument that both teams have had a couple of players that need to step up, but the top of the lineups have been pretty solid or at least serviceable. Do we agree on that?
Nemo's been okay. Nemo hit a homer. I think he had another hit in another game as well. He's been okay. But yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, I would go with the Mets. I mean, they just you just can't kill them. Like they're never dead. And you knew. I don't know if you was watching, but I knew as soon as Lindor got on base, I knew they were about to score.
I thought it was going to be Alonso. I didn't think it was going to be Vientos.
Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, I can agree with that. But
yeah, we had the same thought. Strom has been horrible in this entire series. So
horrible.
Yeah, which is a shame because he's been really good in the regular season. But I am wondering if Philly's going to start messing with the bullpen a bit because I don't know who's been reliable out of the entire bullpen for them. It feels like every pitcher's gotten shelled.
Yeah, who do you got to go to if it's not Strom, though?
I have no idea because every pitcher's been getting shelled out of the bullpen for Philly so far in this postseason.
Yeah, so I would feel a little bit better about the Mets. I mean, obviously home field, and then just the resiliency. I mean, Philly's been resilient too, but not like the Mets. I think the Mets are one of the most resilient crews that we have left. Never out of a game, and they just know they just play smart. I mean, that's just all. It's no way to really quantify it. What they're doing. Like the at bat for Lindor, I think he was down 0-2 and then forced that walk. Like like they're just really playing well. I mean, got to give credit to them and their staff for that. So I would say a long-winded way of saying I think the Mets are better suited to kind of be like take the momentum back or keep the momentum rolling. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think once again momentum might be 50-50. I feel like both teams are actually in a way kind of satisfied with how it played out because Philly was so close to being down 2-0 after choking away another potential game, and they salvaged it. So I think both teams actually feel okay right now, and we'll see what happens going on. Might have been a bit harsh to Stott because he is batting 286, but Real Muto's 0-for, Marsh is 0-for. Bohm's been horrible.
Yeah,
they
even
had
to
bench Bohm, and they ended up calling him up as a pinch hitter for Sosa in that game too when he went 0-for-2. So Bohm's been atrocious. They need hit to step up, but Harper's batting 400. Turner is batting 250. Schwarber's done nothing basically besides the home run and the bloop single in Game 1. And once again, it's mostly Real Muto and company need to be a little bit better. But for the Mets, you can make the same argument where the bottom of the order, Marte's batting 200, Taylor's batting 125, Alvarez is 167, and Bader's batting 200. So you can't expect some other guys to step up, but it's mostly been kind of top-heavy for both lineups. Anyway, though, getting into the actual Game 3 breakdown. For this one, you are looking at a pitching matchup, which is kind of interesting. You have Nola against Manaya. Now, the Phillies are minus 115. The Mets are minus 105. Over-under in this game is mostly, if not all, at 7. With a little bit of juice to the over in some books, but I do see some minus 110s out there. Nola, we know, has been Phillies' I would say underrated playoff ace over the years. He's been really good in the playoffs. Going through the last couple of outings, though, he has been fine. Last 3 outings, he has gone 18 innings, and he has allowed 6 runs. So finished the regular season in decent form. For the home road splits, though, he has been better at home than on the road, 3.87 ERA on the road. But his numbers against the Mets this season have been average, 13.1 innings pitched, a 4.05 ERA. So Nola's going to be on the mound for Philly. As for Manaea, we know that he's great this season. 12-6 record, 3.47 ERA. Has been worse at home, though, a 3.75 ERA. Do want to point out his numbers against Philly this season have been underwhelming. 3 starts, 16 2/3 innings, a 5.4 ERA. But the Mets have been really good when he's pitched. Ironically, they have lost 2 straight starts that he's made. Prior to those 2, though, they had won 8 straight starts that he had made. So, do you want to ask about this game? You can argue the game doesn't start until the starters come out because both bullpens keep falling apart. But I do want to ask you for this matchup, do you agree with Philly being favored?
I think it's probably about right. I don't think it's value either way. I would lean just to the home team with the Mets. But I mean, if you just wait till one team gets down and bet the opposite side, probably going to come out a winner. I think Nola's been okay, but my issue with him is he's kind of a front running pitcher. Like when things are going good, like he's good. When he'll pitch well, but once he gives up a run or two, it kind of just snowballs. Like if he gets behind, he doesn't have the confidence. I don't know if it's just me that sees that, but that's what I
argue that was mostly based on like this year in general, because last year he was amazing in the playoffs. He was 23 innings, 2.35 ERA.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't have the stats what his numbers are when they're winning compared to when they're tied or losing, but I know Nola was mostly just an absolute ace in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, and then the last time he faced he had 6 earned runs and 4 1/3 on 9-13 versus the Mets, and then prior to that he had threw a complete game. I think he threw 4 hits. I think he had 4 hits, a 4-hit shutout in that game. So he's had his ups and downs. I think he ran through the numbers. But one thing he's having an issue with is home runs. He's allowed a home run in 10 of his last 13. He's allowed 7 in 6 September starts. His hit rate's been a little bit higher. And I don't think that's a position that you want to be in against the Mets, who are really seeing the ball well. And those guys at the bottom of the lineup are going to have a little bit more juice. So like you mentioned earlier, they hadn't been playing well at first, but back at home, comfortable. They seen Nola, numerous times. Obviously, you could say the same thing about Manaea, but I think that the bottom of the lineup for the Mets shows up. I think they win. Mostly like the chat. I think I like the over as well. I don't think you can go under in either of these games. I mean, we saw what happened early on in that second game. It was a dead nut under, and then it turned into an over. And on the opposite side, Manaea, he was okay versus Milwaukee. He wasn't his best. He did allow a decent amount of hits, and his numbers are just okay against Philly. But I trust him here. I'm going to take the Mets, and I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, I see some comments, by the way, about how some of the money's coming in on.
I love the chat right now, man.
Game. I do want to point out, though, I did see a comment saying that somebody bet the under because there's over money coming in on the Detroit-Cleveland game. And then I see immediately the response after is, who's betting overs with Skubal on the mound? Yeah, that was my response. If you're betting overs with Skubal pitching, you probably should reevaluate your betting process because there was no reason to like the over in that game. And the game was 0-0 in the 9th inning. Right. I do want to point out, though, for this matchup, I do agree about the over. If both bullpens are completely untrustworthy, then why would I bother trying to bet an under? I feel like if I want to bet an under, I would consider maybe first 5. But I'm not even going to do that because Manaea's been atrocious in his playoff career. So I mentioned Nola before. His postseason numbers as a whole are fine because he wasn't very good in 2022. A 3.7 ERA, but it was a 2.35 last year alone in 4 starts. As for Manaea, including his start against the Brewers, where he went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs, his career postseason numbers are awful. 12 2/3 innings, 7 home runs allowed, a 10.66 ERA. So he's been atrocious in these spots in the past, and I do think that there is some type of, mental shift for pitchers when it comes to postseason baseball versus regular season baseball, and he has just never really passed the test. So I'm going to go with the Phillies in this one. I think Nola is the better pitcher, and I think that the Phillies have the better offense, in my opinion. I am where the Mets have been hitting well lately, but I can't trust Manaea. I just can't do it. I thought he looked pretty vulnerable against the Brewers in the first game that he pitched this postseason, and I don't trust him. I think Nola is a better option. I think the Phillies will have a lead at some point. Will they hold the lead? I don't know. That's a whole separate conversation, but I don't trust either bullpen, and I trust Nola a lot more than Manaea. I think 115 is cheap. I get the argument is it's in Citi Field. The crowd's going to be rocking. I get it, But based on the form of both pitchers in the playoffs and based on Nola being a better pitcher, just based on asking anybody who you think's better, they'd all say Nola. I think we agree Nola is a better pitcher than Minaya, objectively speaking. I'll take the better pitcher at minus 115. This line feels very cheap to me, and I think Philly should be minus 125, minus 130. Do you think I'm wrong with that?
A little.
Okay, which aspect?
Yeah, I mean, maybe just from the. I'm looking at it like this. So, I think Minaya. I think his priors are being like a little bit overvalued. This. I mean, I don't think anybody expected him to be like this for probably not.
Oh no, he was phenomenal for the last couple months.
Yeah.
Same thing with Quintana. Quintana was like basically like a Cy Young front runner for the last month of the season.
Yeah, and then he's faced this team at home. So in 3 home games, he only had 1 bad start against them. He had 6 earned runs on 7 hits, 2 earned runs. That was in 3 2/3. That was on 6-8. But the rest of the time, I mean, 1 earned run on 4 hits in 6 innings. That was on 5-13. 3 earned runs on 3 hits, 2 home runs. So he basically just made 2 mistakes there. And that was previous. He went 7 innings pitched there. I mean, I think maybe if you just like prior, if you including your priors with Minaya, I get it. But I'm going like just current form. Like right now, I think he's.
But how do you think he looked against Milwaukee in his first postseason?
I thought he was okay. I mean, but again,
I was gonna say he gave up 6 hits in 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 1 home run. Like I thought he was fine. I don't think he was that great.
Yeah, no, he was. No, I'm not saying that he's great. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying a little bit of familiarity here. And my take on Nola is what happens if what. Okay, so my thing is I'm scripting the game out like this. I'm scripting the game as if first 2 innings Mets are up 2-0. How does Nola respond? Because usually he doesn't respond well to being down. Like if he's up 2-0. Then he's a different pitcher. Then he's down 2-0. Now, maybe you could say that about a bunch of pitchers. But I think if you look at Nola's track record, it says that he's better whenever he's in a positive game script. And I think Minaya will be the same regardless. Now, he can get blown up, obviously. I mean, but do you trust the bottom of the lineup for Philly on the road?
I'm just saying, I think that Philly's offense is going like top to bottom. I get current form might favor the Mets. I prefer the Phillies lineup personally.
No. I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you there. No disagreement.
So I'm mostly arguing about the actual just line itself. I feel like if you're making the argument the Phillies are better on paper, which they are, the record suggests that, and I think Nola's better than Minaya, I think 115 is cheap. That's my main argument. I think the line should be higher based on overall talent on paper.
Yeah, I think it's about right, but I guess we'll disagree there.
Well, I do want to point out, though, that Manaya's over-under for outs in this game is 15.5. The under's minus 140. I love the under for his outs. I think he's probably going 5 innings in this spot.
Really?
I do. I think the Mets are probably going to, I don't want to say use the Quintana approach because he pitched an absolute gem and he ended up going over. But Minaya, we saw go 5 innings against Milwaukee. I think he might get into trouble in the start, but I do think the Mets will probably give him 5. Minus 140 at 15.5 feels right to me. I lean under on the outs. That might be why I am leaning to Nola in the start.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because even though I don't trust either bullpen, I'm going to use that to my advantage because I think Nola will go more length than Minaya will, at least in my opinion, which should result in less bullpen liability. But I see Minaya going 5 innings. That's kind of my expectation here. I think Nola probably gets into the 6th.
Yeah. I don't disagree with your like your handicap. I'm just saying we kind of going at it in different angles.
My favorite play is the over.
Yeah. We can agree. Yeah, we can agree.
Yeah, I'm on the over. That's my main thought here. Yeah. But I am expecting once again Minaya to probably go 5 tops, and I think then Nola, unless he gets shelled, gets into the 6th inning. So we're going to disagree on the side. I know we both agree on the over.
Yep.
But looking at some player props, of course, I just mentioned the outs prop. I don't like the over on Nola 16.5, but I like the under on Minaya 15.5 there. Don't mind the over on Minaya hits as well. I mentioned before that this season he has been kind of hit or miss against this team, but you are looking at it hits allowed, and his current number for hits allowed is at 4.5. The over's at plus 130. He's allowed 6+ hits in back-to-back starts. Against the Phillies, he has been kind of solid at preventing hits, 3, 7, and 4. But I do think, once again, 4.5 at plus 130, this team can get contact against him. They've done well against him in the past. I think plus money is a pretty good deal fading Minaya.
Yeah, I would parlay both of these pitchers to give up at least 1 home run. I mean, they both have home run issues. Like like I said, Nola 10 of the last 13, he's given up a home run. If you look at the games that Manaea's pitched against the Phillies this year, he's given up 4 home runs in his most recent starts, which has pretty much been how the Phillies have burned him is hitting the long ball.
Yeah. You can argue that they've been over-aligned on the home run ball besides the Castellanos walk-off single.
Yeah, and that was a great at-bat too. So I can see both of these guys going over their hits, like the hits allowed. I think I can see both of that. I can see both pitchers allowing, a home run. That's something that I'm interested in. And I think we have a big Francisco Lindor game. So like sprinkle on him like a home run, total bases, like all of that, hits, runs, RBIs. Like I think we get a big Lindor game. I mean, he hasn't been outside of the last game. He hasn't been great at all. Alonso's been picking up that slack. Viento's been picking up that slack.
I'll put it this way though: Lindor's been putting up solid at bats. Maybe the results haven't fully been there.
Yeah. He always does that though, just because he's just such a good hitter.
Yeah, true. I'm just saying he's been able to work some walks there as well. He has been able to get on base.
Yeah.
It's most of the Manaea prop for hits. He might not get there, but plus 130 is so appealing for 5+ hits. I think that's a great price. I do want to point out, though, just looking at some head-to-head numbers, I see people mentioning some overall batter stats. I do want to point out the numbers against these particular pitchers. So for the Phillies, Harper's 364 lifetime against Manaea with the home run. Castellanos is 375 with 3 home runs, so he's a pretty solid home run option. Austin Hayes is batting 667, only 3 at-bats, but he's 2 for 3, so I am wondering if we might end up seeing him actually start this game based on head-to-head numbers. We'll see. Did they announce the starting lineup yet for both teams?
I don't think so.
Okay, while you pull that up, though, Stada's batting 429, Schwarber's batting 333 with a home run, Turner's batting 313, so a lot of guys for Philly have really good numbers against Manaea.
They have.
Okay, so do you know if Hayes is playing or is he coming off the bench?
Yeah, Hayes is he's batting 7.
He is starting. Okay, cool. So Hayes does have very good numbers in the head-to-head against Manaea, so I'm not surprised that he is starting. But you are looking at, once again, most of Philly's lineup having really good numbers besides Real Muto, so keep that in mind. As for the Mets against Nola, mostly underwhelming numbers. There are a couple of decent ones in there. Alonso's batting 320 with 5 home runs. Does have 14 strikeouts, but he does have 5 home runs, so he has been the main home run guy against Nola. Nimmo has 2 home runs, only batting a 250. Does have an on-base percentage, though, of 391. 12 walks against Nola. So if you want a Nimmo walk prop, I actually don't mind that based on the head-to-head. Marte's batting 355, Iglesias is batting 444, and Taylor's batting 400. But Vientos is batting 333. So there are some guys with good numbers against Nola and Manaea in the lineup today. So expect some offenses to once again maybe have some solid innings. Love the over in this game in general. Anyway, before we get into the other NLDS game, do want to remind you once again that we are brought to you by Untitled Fantasy because they have a lot of great menu items on their pick'em, and you are looking at the NFL, college football, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, more, including tennis. They're all always jam-packed with profit boosts. You can now use specials and boosts on all your flex entries. I'll probably do something. I know I ended up having Kareem Hunt higher on the receiving yards for the Monday night game. For this one, you know what? I will go with it. Give me Manaea lower, 15.5 outs. I see him struggling, and I think that he's going to end up being pulled after 5. And they also had a day off yesterday, which should allow the bullpen to be fully available for this game. So give me the lower on Manaea outs for this matchup. A reminder, though, use the promo code MLB SGPN to claim your special pick in the first time deposit offer up to $1,000 bonus cash on a fantasy promo code MLB SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Just finished previewing the Mets and Phillies Game 3. Time to move on to the Dodgers and Padres Game 3, taking place as the late game. Not too late, though, thank God. Game's at 9 p.m., so it could be worse. For this matchup, though, you have the Padres as pretty massive favorites, about minus 160. You have the Dodgers at around plus 135. Over-unders around 7.5 with a little bit of juice there towards the over. For this one, you have Buehler pitching against Michael King. Now, King we saw pitch an absolute gem against the Braves. He was basically unhittable, and he had one of the best postseason debuts of all time. Michael King, in that start against the Braves, 7 innings, 5 hits, no runs, no walks, 12 strikeouts. He was absolutely filthy. Now, for this series, we have seen each team have some success. Both teams offensively have been solid. The Dodgers broke through in Game 1 as they fell behind early. Then Cease was horrible. You saw Ohtani at the home run, and they ended up rallying to win that game 7-5. Then the Padres destroyed the pitching staff for the Dodgers. Flaherty was terrible, despite the trash talking to Machado. There was some drama, some bad blood, but the Padres dominated with a bunch of home runs. Now, these teams hate each other. We saw some Dodgers fans exchange some unpleasantries with Tatis, etc. Saw them throw some baseballs on the field. Roberts made some comments about Machado throwing the ball into the dugout, which we haven't actually found evidence of. That's what he claims happened. These teams don't like each other, but the line's massive, mainly because Buehler is pitching. Do want to segue briefly into the weird life of Walker Buehler over the last 24, 48 hours, because we have to get him on the podcast, maybe the horse racing podcast, because he got robbed of his $100,000 watch yesterday.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
At Santa Anita Park. He was at the horse track, and he got jumped by a mob, and they robbed him of his watch. So he is in a pretty interesting spot mentally, because he brought an $100K watch to a racetrack, and he got robbed the day before pitching in a playoff game. So I wonder what the psyche's going to be for Buehler, but that was something that was reported, and that was an ABC report. There was an actual news story there. It wasn't like a fake report. He got robbed, and now he's pitching a day later. So,
yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I do want to ask you, what are your thoughts on Buehler? Because you know that I think he sucks at this stage in his career with all the injuries he's had. He's been really bad, but a very weird spot. But being at a horse racetrack the day before a playoff game, respect. You have my respect for that.
Definitely got my respect. Boast your security up, brother. What are you doing? Listen. I'm 100% sure they did not know it was Walker Buehler. I'm 100% sure they didn't know.
They saw a $100K watch and said, "Oh, that looks pretty nice."
Yeah, and I mean, baseball players aren't. Unless you're like Ohtani, Judge, Stanton, like some of those other guys. I just don't know if they're as recognizable as all these other celebrities, which is good for them because they can just walk around and be free. But yeah, that sucks for him though. That sucks. Get your security up, please. Thank God nothing else happened to him. But as far as the game,
he was with his wife too, which is pretty rough. But
yeah, that's rough. So I'm glad nothing else happened to him. He can get another watch, I'm pretty sure. So not worried about that. But just thankfully he's good. Buehler, man, just listen. I like the Dodgers here.
Okay, I need to hear your case here because Buehler.
No, I don't really have a strong case. I'm not gonna.
Is your case just you think the line's too big for two teams that are somewhat evenly matched? Because I'm taking King over Buehler in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm not even going to argue with you with that. That's 100% right. But I will tell you this. He did pitch well versus San Diego just about a week and a half ago. 1 earned run on 5 hits, 926 in his 926 start. He's been better on the road, 2 or less earned runs in 3 straight. Small sample, of course, but that's what I'm looking at here. Listen, I don't want to I can't even debate. It's not even an argument. King you ran off his numbers. He's not allowed over 2 runs since early August.
He's an absolute monster. He'd be like a legitimate Cy Young candidate, but he didn't get enough hype.
Yeah, 2 or less in 7 straight at home. So he's been nails at home. But I can't lay 155 with them. I can't. And I'm gonna be honest. This is not a hot take or anything. But literally, the Padres played one of the best defensive games I've ever seen.
That was incredible. Arise especially was phenomenal at first base.
Yeah, that is one of the best performances I've seen from an offense in a while. The Dodgers were putting bat on ball. Like the Freeman hit, obviously the Mookie hit. They doubled up on the I forgot who hit it, but Arise. They had 2 on, 1 out.
It was first and third, I think, with 1 out, and Arise was hit right at him, but Arise looked great at first base.
Yeah, and then he doubled him up.
I think Merrill even made a play in center field. The whole team was great defensively.
Right, and listen, I don't know if that's sustainable, but the Dodgers are putting the bat to the ball, and I respect that. I think that they'll get a couple of breaks here. 155. I understand King has been lights out, but bro, I can't lay 155. Not against the Dodgers. I don't care who's pitching.
Yeah, I think the one point I will make on behalf of Buehler is that he was better as the season went on, especially the last couple starts. He did allow less than 2 earned in 2 of his last 3. Coincidentally, the last start he made was actually against the Padres. That was a home game, but he went 5 innings, 1 run. So he actually was okay, or pretty solid in that outing, so we'll see if he can build off of that. I think King is filthy. I think he's so damn good. Yeah, and as a Yankees fan, I love Soto, but damn, King's a really good pitcher. kind of an even trade on both sides, but if Soto doesn't re-sign with the Yankees, you could argue the Padres won that trade. Point is, I think for this one, I'm going to go with the Padres first 5 in this one. I think Buehler's going to struggle. I think King pitches well. I do agree with you, though. I really don't want to lay 155 in a playoff game like this where both teams hate each other. Like, I get it. I picked San Diego to win the series. I had San Diego in 5. So I do think San Diego will win one of these 2 games, and fading Buehler is always a very fun option. But I think I will go with the Padres first 5. Maybe the game gets a bit weird late, and you see the bullpen kind of unravel, even though San Diego's bullpen's better than the Dodgers. I think I would rather just fade King. I'd rather just back King and fade Buehler. Give me Padres first 5 -0.5. I'll take it that way. Maybe the Dodgers wake up late and the series gets interesting. But I do think the Padres, with their overall firepower, even with Buehler pitching well in that last start against San Diego, he only struck out 1 guy. He gave up 5 hits, only struck out 1 guy. So San Diego made a lot of contact in that start, which is not exactly, I'd say, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. I'd rather see swing and miss stuff from Buehler. If he's pitching a contact against this lineup right now, he's in trouble. So give me the Padres first 5 -0.5. I'll back King. Couple ways to get there. Buehler gets shelled, you win a high-scoring first 5, or maybe King pitches zeros, you get 1 run, and you get there anyway. So I'll go with the Kings. I'll go with King. I'll back him. Give me the Padres first 5 -0.5.
Listen, man, I can't argue with you. Like I would like I can make a case for the Mets in a prior game, but I mean I can't fault anybody for.
No, your main argument's the price. You just feel like these teams have such bad blood, and the teams are close on paper that you think, besides starting pitching disadvantage, the price is too massive. I get.
I mean, just like what happened if King doesn't have it? Like,
I
mean, and this is a lineup that they could get hot. I mean, they're hitting the ball. It's not like they're striking out or not putting the ball in play. Like, they're hitting the ball. It's just that defense was just so good. Now can they keep that up? I mean, I don't think so, but would I be surprised? No. I mean, Arise is not even he's not even good in the field.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why it was shocking. He was especially very good at first base.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe it was an outlier performance. But like, this is just a weird series, man. It's a weird series.
I'm having a great time with the series, though.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm having a great time.
And Buehler, I mean, maybe he's pissed off and he wants to get back at those guys. Maybe they were Padres fans and he wants to just strike out every Padre twice. So I might look at some Buehler props.
Yeah, honestly, if you're going to be wearing that type of watch when you're going to a racetrack, you might want to do it before all the daily doubles lose, because people are desperate for money if you're going to the racetrack. But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, you lose the pick 5. Suddenly people get a bit desperate to get their money back. Yeah. You want to point out Buehler outs for this start is only at 13.5. In fact, the under on 13.5 is about -115. So they're expecting Buehler to probably go about 3-4 innings. I don't mind it, because once again, I think Buehler is going to be on a very short leash here. I don't know what the Dodgers' plan is, though. It's why I picked Padres in the series.
Yeah, me either.
What do they have in their rotation? Because Yamamoto had nothing in Game 1. Flaherty was not very good in Game 2, despite cursing out Machado like he was pitching well, even though he got shelled. You're looking at Buehler, who's been bad for most of the season, been awful on the road, and once again, his outs are at 13.5. I don't know what the Dodgers are supposed to do. Like, who's going to come in if Buehler even pitches decently and gives you a solid 4 innings?
Yeah, I agree.
What do you do?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm being honest. I don't know. I mean, I'm counting on him being decent at least. Bro, like,
I like the over in the game anyway. I'm not going to take an under with these offenses.
Yeah, but they'll know early if Buehler has it or not. The first time through the order, they'll know if he has it or not.
See, I can also counter with that I don't know if that matters much, because we saw Rodon look like he was about to pitch a perfect game through 2 innings, and then he ended up getting shelled. And it even get through 4.
Yeah.
So, yes, I can agree with you. I think Buehler probably gets 1 time through the order, and I think they just pull him after that, personally. I have to look at his numbers quickly first time through the order and onward, because it really might be just let him get out there. As long as he's not horrible, then we'll take it, and we'll go from there. Buehler, though, is really bad first time through the order, and then second time he's actually at his best. First time through the order, though, 341 batting average, a 407 on base percentage. So this could get ugly early. If you want the Yurfie, maybe. You want Padres to score first. That could be an option. If you think that King gets through the first inning, 1, 2, 3, then you have some chances there. I think Buehler probably gets into the 4th. Nothing more than that. I actually like the under on his outs. I think the Dodgers will be very quick to pull him, because they know he's been a mess all year. So I think Buehler probably is going to be a long relief opener, 3 innings tops. That's what I'm looking at. Do you agree with that or no?
No, I agree fully. Listen, I like the Dodgers. I have no confidence.
Oh, you
in
just
it.
think based on price and piece it together. I get it.
I got zero confidence in it. But can I see? I can see it pass because he has had success against them. I mean, he only went 5 in them, but to your point, he did allow 5 hits.
He only struck out one guy, which is a bit
right. So he's allowing contact, and at home, it's going to be rocking in Petco. Like, just
they might be chucking stuff at the Dodger players. We'll see what happens.
They might. But I mean, I don't have a lot of conviction. I just price wise, I can't lay 155 with it. I'm surprised it's still there. I mean, I know sharp guys are probably betting, college football, NFL, but like 155 is outrageous.
I think another reason for it is we don't know if Freeman's going to play. Because Freeman got injured, he left early, and his status is unknown. So we have no idea. He hurt his ankle. So that could be a factor, too, because we know Freeman, despite not having the best of years for his standards, he still batted .282, 89 RBIs, 22 home runs. That's a pretty massive piece in that lineup.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I forgot to even bring that up. Yep.
So I do want to at least mention that. I think that you're looking at Freeman probably not playing. He got pulled mid-playoff game, hurt his ankle sliding to second base. I'm assuming he's out. Unless he shows up as Kurt Gibson off the bench and maybe it's a home run late, I don't think that we're going to see Freeman in this game. Yeah. Maybe a pinch hit appearance late and they'll pull him if he gets on base, but I don't see him starting this game. It looked pretty rough.
Yeah, shoot him up. He'll be fine.
Do you want to point out, though, Trev mentioning the walk prop?
He's killing me, bro. He's killing me.
But you got to tread carefully with the walks because if we're picking up the pitch 3 innings tops, then you probably don't want to go chasing walks. That's a dangerous prop to actually go through if you're expecting him to go under his outs. That means you're expecting him to walk at least one guy basically per inning in this outing. So tread carefully with the walk props because a lot of those numbers are based on him going 5 innings. If he goes 2 or 3, you don't want to chase those walk props. Just a full, I'd say, warning for all of you. But I don't expect Freeman to play. So that's kind of where I'm at. It looked very awkward, and he was already injured entering the series. I think he's not going to play. So that's how I'm looking at it. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, but he can't DH, though, because Ohtani DHs, right?
My point is Freeman might pinch hit off the bench late, and they'll go from there.
Yeah, if they need him. They got to get some production from the top of that lineup.
He'll be the emergency guy, and it'll look like Kurt Gibson out there limping and maybe a little home run to right field.
Yeah, they got to get some production from the top. I mean, they just can't hit Darvish. I think Bally brought it up in the chat.
It's a good point. His name is Walker, so he does walk a lot of guys. That is a fair point.
Darvish, man, he was pitching like, prime Tom Glavine or Greg Maddux.
He has so many pitches, and it's so underrated how many pitches he actually has.
Yeah, unreal. Yeah, but man, this game can go.
I'm saying it is priced in though. I think the Padres would be like minus 130 if there was a decent chance Freeman would be there. But I think that he is worth like 20 cents.
Okay, let me ask you this. So let's say, for instance, if it was the reverse. Let's say if San Diego won game 1, the Dodgers won game 2. What do you think the price would be?
I think with Buehler pitching, it would be arguably the same number.
You think so? Okay.
With San Diego being at home and with Buehler pitching with his numbers on the road, I think it'd be close to the same. Assuming Freeman, of course, was not going to play in game 3 in both situations.
No. Let's just assume everything's healthy as far as...
You can argue, everything's healthy?
Yeah.
Padres minus 130.
Okay.
I think Freeman's worth 20-something cents. I think he's that good.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
So I think it's mostly injury-based, but you could argue there was a little bit of an inflation after what happened in game 2. So maybe that's worth like 5-10 cents. But Buehler pitching in Petco, I think San Diego's favored regardless.
No, yeah, I'm not disagreeing here. Yeah, I would say like around 120-ish though.
Okay. So either way, though, we like the over in both games.
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to mention quickly before we officially go into the lock and dog picks? Do you want to mention the actual head-to-head numbers that both players, that actually both teams have against the opposing starting pitchers? Once again, we're probably not going to go much length, but do want to mention it anyway. Because why not? You might be able to get out to a decent start. So getting into the actual numbers here, most of San Diego's batters actually do not have good numbers against Buehler. One exception, though. There actually are a couple. Merrill's 2 for 4, and Higashioka is 1 for 2. Going through the really bad numbers, Bogarts is 1 of 7. Arise is 1 of 5, or 1 for 5, I should say. Machado's 8 of 28, so he is currently a .286 hitter against Buehler. Tatis is 9 of 29 with 4 home runs. So Tatis is your home run guy. If you are going by head-to-head numbers and based on current form, Tatis will probably be the most popular home run choice for this matchup. As for King, his numbers against Dodgers hitters, you are looking at Ohtani batting .429 with 3 home runs against him, 6 of 14 lifetime. So Ohtani's your main guy. Besides that, basically it. I see Kike is 2 of 4, and that's kind of it. So it's mostly Ohtani and Tatis, the usual suspects, having great numbers against these pitchers. So keep that in mind if you want to go for it. See somebody mentioning Merrill for the home run there. Merrill's 2 for 4 lifetime. Once again, small sample, but is batting .500. So anyway, anything else you want to add for this game?
No, I think we pretty much hit it all.
Cool. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up for the actual breakdown of both game twos. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. But want to remind you once again that we are brought to you by BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. Easy to deposit with crypto. Get lightning fast payouts. U.S. players are always welcome. And a reminder, if you sign up and deposit $100, you automatically be entered into a raffle for a chance to win a 1960 Ford Mustang. A reminder, use our link to sign up and get a 125% deposit bonus in first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingbox.com/BetUS. The sportsgamblingbox.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN. Then we'll send you BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive models in seconds, get predictions on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models on the leaderboard, or press build the model for me. And Rhythm will give you predictions and on every game and player props in seconds with a ton of stats, research, trend analysis, and once again, as much of the betting insights you can imagine. A reminder, though, you can get a free trial to actually try out the platform. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingbox.com/rhythm, sportsgamblingbox.com/RITHMM. Welcome back, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast. Just finished previewing the Game 3s for the NLDS, and now it's time for the Lock and Dog picks. Lonte, I'm going to ask you, what are your picks for the Lock and Dog?
Yeah, so I'm going to make it simple, man. I'm going to lock up the Mets. Dog, I'm going to take the Dodgers. I mean, price-wise, just the Dodgers thing is, I think it's just a little bit overpriced. Obviously, the Padres is everybody's darling. Understandably so. Played a great game. They played well in both games, actually. So I think it's a similar thing here. I think the Dodgers return the favor. I'm expecting Buehler to be okay and not bad. So okay. I think that's their path to victory. And we went over all these games in great depth. I think probably the most in depth we've been into either game. I think it was a good breakdown for both of them. So
we only had 2 games, so we had to make sure we spent
So I don't want to just regurgitate anything else. If you want to just listen to the breakdown from prior, we'll have it timestamped. But yeah, I like the Mets to get it done. If you want a bonus play, I like the over in both games as well. So Mets and Dodgers for me. Lock and dog.
So for my lock, thought about maybe doing a prop, but I'm not going to do it. Just give me the over in the Phillies game against the Mets. I don't know what's either bullpen to do anything. I mentioned before, Manaea's numbers are not good in the playoffs at all. And I also mentioned his numbers against the Phillies have not been great this season. Nola's numbers against the Mets have not been great. The Mets offense has been solid lately. It's mostly both bullpens. The total's at 7. Do I think each team gets to 3? Yeah. Yes. I think both teams get to 3. Yes. So give me the over at 7. That line just feels too cheap to me. So -110. I see -108 actually on DraftKings. Yeah, give me the over in that one as my lock. I feel like there's a decent opportunity to, at worst case scenario, push. But I think 7's too low. So give me the over as my lock. For my dog, King this season's been good against the Dodgers. Forgot to mention that, by the way. 20 and a third innings, a 2-0 record, a 3.1 ERA. It's mostly Buehler being bad, and I understand that he might go a small amount of length, but I don't really trust the Dodgers bullpen either. I think I got to go with the extremely public play. Padres -1.5 plus 145. It's such a good price fading Buehler. I said I was going to fade Buehler in the playoffs regardless, but plus 145 is such a good number. I think that Buehler's going to struggle. He's worried about watch insurance. He's got a lot in his mind right now. I'll go with the Padres -1.5 as my dog at plus 145. Now, Lonte, I'm going to ask you for your home run pick for the card. I was 1 game off on Harper, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, you were.
Do you want to ask you, though, for your home run picks, what do you like in this overall matchup, or I should say collection of matchups?
Yeah, honestly, I was going to go with Lindor, but it's a little bit chalky. So I'm going to go with Teoscar Hernandez for the Dodgers. You routed off the numbers. I know King hasn't been giving up a lot, but obviously if they get to him a little bit early, he might get pulled. prior to what he's been going a decent amount of depth. I think he went 7 scoreless versus Atlanta, and I think he went 5 scoreless in 5 innings pitched versus the Dodgers a few weeks ago. So I don't trust the bullpen, so I think Teoscar can get one over. So give me the Teoscar Hernandez for the Dinger prop today.
All right, so the obvious choice was Tatis, but unfortunately his home run price is like 3-1, so I can't really do it. Instead, give me the home run machine, Yankee legend. Give me Kyle Higashioka. Dead home run in this one. His home run price is plus 650. For reference, by the way, Higashioka has hit 1 home run in 4 of the last 5 games. He's been a monster, and he's 1 for 2 lifetime with a double against Buehler, so a small sample, but a home run in 4 of the last 5. And it's plus 650? Hell yeah, I'm going to take that. That's a hell of a price. I think that's a great deal. Give me a Higashioka. Did a home run at plus 650. I'll go with the current form. Yes, I know that it is a bit of, I'd say, an unsustainable projection for Higashioka, but 650 is wild. 4 home runs in the last 5 games. Hell yeah, I'll take that price. 650 is a good deal. That's going to be, once again, our picks for the show. Once again, my lock's going to be on the over in the Phillies and Mets game at 7. Dog will be on the Padres minus 1.5 at plus 145. For your plays, you can run through those once again if you want to.
Yeah, I like both overs. To be honest, I like both overs. I like the the Dodgers, and I like the Mets to win the game. So I think both. I think we split. Home team wins in the first game. Road team wins in the second game.
Yep. So I personally think the Phillies are going to win game 1, and the first game on the card. And I think
we disagreed about
Padres
that whole
will win
series.
So yeah, pretty much. Well, I don't know if we disagree about the whole series. Kind of. I mean, I picked the Phillies in 4, so both our picks are alive. I didn't think the Mets would roll over and die. I just thought the Phillies were the better team. But we'll see what happens. The Mets have looked great so far. We'll see what can happen in game 3. Points, though, should be fun. Don't forget to check out the MLB Gambling Podcast on, once again, tomorrow for the ALDS game 3. So stay tuned for that. Don't remember who's on the show. I think it's going to be Mal and Dylan, I think. Not totally sure, though, but you can find me on the NBA show. Find him on the NBA show, too. Lonte's, of course, on that show, too. Doing some division previews. I know that Terrell and I broke down the Atlantic Division yesterday. WNBA as well. Did an episode with Terrell yesterday for Game 5 between the Sun and the Lynx. We'll be back once again for the WNBA Finals there. Find me on the tennis show. Going to have an episode in about an hour or so. Till next time, though, find me on Twitter, Reichel Radio. Find him on Twitter at XXLonteXX. Till next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.